Famer Chris Mullin, NBA champion Festus Ezeli. I am Bonta Hill, and we say next man up. We're not just talking about the Golden State Warriors. We're talking about both sides here, Fezzy.
All right, now, Bonta, we're at the post-Super Bowl celebration right now. We get back to business, okay? The Warriors are undermanned.
But they'll have to do so without Stephen Curry, and it was just announced that he's officially ruled out of the NBA All-Star Game next Sunday in L.A. The second time he'll miss an All-Star Game due to an injury. And again, he's not going to play tonight or Wednesday against San Antonio. So Steph will get some rest with that runner's knee that he suffered in practice when they were having their baseball series in Minnesota. He's been struggling with the shot a little bit there, but the Warriors beat up right now. Also, Jimmy Butler had successful ACL surgery. So for all the folks who bought All-Star tickets to L.A. wanting to see Stephen Curry put on a show, unfortunate news for them that the chef will be out. SGA is going to be out, something we'll touch on a little bit later. So got to keep some stars in his game.
Yeah, it's really incredible the fact that, Steph, LeBron, KD, these guys are all in the All-Star game at their respective ages. But Steph is still the best show in basketball. All right, say what you want, but, years and years, there's fans have been coming. I actually remember a couple years ago when Steph had the shooting competition versus Sabrina Ionescu.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the most anticipated events of All-Star Weekend. So Steph Curry is still the guy that people want to watch, the fans want to watch, and he'll be missed. The NBA is the biggest, they're probably the ones who are most upset about the fact that Steph is going to be missing the All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, and all those guys, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, they're all still playing to try and win a championship. So first and foremost, it's about Steph getting healthy. I think this is a great break for him. Hopefully he can get his that swelling under control and then have a really strong run, because that's what it's all about. He and Porzingis will probably come back together post All-Star break and try and make that run with what they have 28 games left.
27 games left.
So that's going to have to be a strong run to maybe work their way out of the box, but definitely stay. I'd like to at least get to 7 maybe if they can, 6 ideally, but we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens. But what has happened since Jimmy Butler tore his right ACL, the Warriors have been struggling. And overall, without Jimmy Butler, they're 5-10 on the season. But the free throw percentage is down. Their attempts from the free throw line is down. And the balance offensively, we've seen over the last couple games, Willie, where the balance, the Warriors take over 50% of their field goals from the perimeter. You're not going to win a lot of basketball games like that at a high level.
Well, taking so many threes and not getting to the free throw line, something that Jimmy Butler does so well. He takes care of the basketball, so the turnovers are usually down when Jimmy's playing. In the half court, when he's playing with that second unit, Steve Kerr is able to basically give the ball to Jimmy and go create offense, and he was doing a great job with that. I think Festus, it's really carried over. The bench has really gained confidence, and since Jimmy Butler's got injured, they still have played very well. But I give Jimmy Butler a lot of credit for establishing that rhythm, flow, and confidence that bench continues to play with.
Yeah, with Jimmy and Steph in the game, both those guys have the advantage they created. They have both their advantages that they create. Steph on the three-point line and Jimmy on the inside. Now, without both these guys, the Warriors' offense, it really just has to be simplified. It's just gone down to pace. You got to play faster, get possessions off before the other team establishes their defense. You got to play with space because you don't have those guys creating and they don't draw the double teams that they normally do. And now this has been three-point heavy. The Warriors are really just trying to get to their shots quicker. You have guard-created shots. You've been asking Moses Moody, who's right there, to do a lot more, and he's been answering the call. But for the Warriors now, it's got to be done by committee. They got to play, defense together. You got to run when you get the ball, play with a lot of pace. All those things for the Warriors are really even more crucial now that those two guys are out.
I thought Steve Kerr did an amazing job because it's not easy to fit Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry into the same offense. And I think they've done a really good job making those two things work together. But when he went to taking Jimmy Butler out early in the first quarter and playing with that second unit, what it did, it really forced the opposing team to try and prepare for two different styles. And they were able to separate Jimmy and Steph, and then they were able to close the game together. So it was a really good job by Steve Kerr. Now with Porzingis, I think that's more of a natural fit, but he's also a three-point shooter. So you talk about balance. trying to get to the free throw line. And what I think they have to do, Bonte and Festus, is play in the open floor a little bit, get some deflections so they're not always looking at a half-court defense. Then they become too predictable and too reliant on the three-point shot.
Yeah, get up and down a little bit there with Kristaps Porzingis when he does return to the lineup, and that'll be after the All-Star break. And hopefully it gets his former team, who the Warriors take on in their first game after the All-Star break, the Boston Celtics, who he helped win a championship with. He's only played 17 games this season. When he's on the floor, he is effective. We know he's a floor spacer. He can't protect the rim at times. But his issue has been staying on the floor as he's been out with an Achilles injury. Let's hear from Mike Dunleavy and Kristaps Porzingis for this past Saturday night in L.A.
We love the player Kristaps, so we think he can help us with some of the stuff on court. I'd say, his rim protection, his ability to score, get fouled, take care of the ball, all things that we're looking to improve, particularly after losing Jimmy. So that was the main thing. But I think just adding a second-round pick for us, knowing the financials on that, what that means this summer, and in free agency with what we're able to do with a second-round pick, just some other slight little things. But again, not the main meat and potatoes what we're trying to get done.
How do you see your skill set fitting in here in Golden State, shooting, passing, cutting, all of that?
I think it will be pretty natural. I think I always say that also because I feel like I'm the type of player that can fit into any kind of offense. So I expect it to be pretty smooth. We'll see. We'll see. Of course, it takes a little bit of time to get adjusted to everybody, to guys, get used to how I like to play and where I like to get the ball. But I think these guys are very experienced. They've played at the high level for a long time, so I believe it will be easy, and I'll also be able to learn from them.
All right, let's go inside the Chase Center for the first time all evening, courtesy of Comcast Business. Every connection counts with the great KB. She's a Emmy Award winning, of course, Kareth Burke. Got to get that in there, Fezzi.
Right, that's right.
Two-time Emmy Award winning.
Two-time
Hall of Famer, Warriors insider here at NBC Sports Bay Area. Monty Poole, and he's in the suede jacket as we're 2 games away from the All-Star break. But KB, Warrior fans want to know, what is it going to look like with Stephen Curry and Kristaps Porzingis on the court together? We're going to have to wait to find out, but maybe you could give us a little hint on what it may look like in the half court with those 2 3-point shooters.
Well, it's encouraging if they're on the floor together, and that's what this all comes back to, that big if, given some of the injury history for Porzingis, given what's happening right now with Steph's knee. Well, let's just get excited about it for a second. What do you like about the potential that is of their two-man game?
Well, KP is so tall, so big, so
7'2".
massive. I mean, how long have we been talking about the Warriors being too small?
Every
Years.
season I've worked here.
Yeah. So he gives them rim protection, he gives them floor spacing, he gives them rebounding. All 3 of those things the Warriors will need. Like you said, it's a big if. And so I think the most productive thing that can happen over the last 27 games when we get to the other side of the break is to see KP on the floor 20-plus times. That way the Warriors can evaluate him and see if at the end of the season, do they want to pursue him for a new contract? He's making $30.7 million. He's not going to get that on his next contract because he misses too many games. So if you're the Warriors, you want to see what he can do, evaluate him, and decide. And if he likes it here, they like him here. They can work something out. With Steph, we know what Steph brings. Runner's knee is tricky, though. You got to make sure it's the Rice method. rest, ice, compression, and elevation. You got to do those 4 things. He's doing a lot of that. Obviously, missing the All-Star game is a big part of that. He doesn't want to miss it. His body is saying, dude, you got to sit. So. Watching those 2 guys together gives the Warriors some hope. But again, you gotta want to see them on the floor. And with KP, that's been an issue.
So rest, when do you get that during an NBA season? It's unfortunate that Steph will miss the All-Star game, but that is definitely best for his health. And then with KP, if you want to see him for about 20 games,
yes,
there are 27 games left after the All-Star break. So I hope he can do that.
Yes.
Dr. Rick Celebrini needs every award, needs every ribbon, needs every Brinks truck. Back it up. But hopefully this is something that the Warriors can assess for the offseason.
Absolutely. Just need him on the court.
Okay, back to you guys.
Right about that, KP is going to get Rick Celebrini a raise here with the Golden State Warriors.
Get your money, Rick Celebrini.
Get your money there.
I like
He's gonna
that,
be at
Monty.
work.
What is that, velvet?
Suede right there.
I like that.
That's your style right there, Fezzi. Hey, but the Gee Believe movement continues. Dalton Johnson has more on the streaking Santos. Stay tuned for that here on Warriors Pregame Live.